Hello, and welcome to the third session of the Live Life to the Fullest program. Our topic today is related to improving communication and advocacy for your health needs during the cancer continuum.
For those who have watched our previous two recordings, hopefully at this point you have a better understanding of occupational therapy in cancer care. As a reminder, occupational therapists provide interventions to help others live life to the fullest by addressing the physical, cognitive, and emotional difficulties one faces throughout the cancer care continuum. Occupational therapists work to get people back to doing the things that they love and need to do in everyday life. To reach this goal, effective communications and advocacy is crucial whether one is battling cancer or adjusting to survivorship. Therefore, occupational therapy's role in this session's topic, and also our goal this session, is to empower you to become self-advocates to seek and obtain equal opportunities and necessary resources to support your health and wellness journey. Today, we'll start off with education on health literacy and health communication. Then, we'll go over specific strategies for communications and advocacy with your healthcare professionals, work, loved ones, and partner. And as always, we'll end our session by taking action with behavioral activation. Being a self-advocate is an ongoing process that involves taking an active role in your healthcare as well as your personal and professional life. Factors that affect your ability to communicate and advocate effectively are health literacy and health communication. Health literacy is the ability to understand and apply health information. So having health literacy skills will improve your ability to follow recommendations and treatment plans, decrease the likelihood of misunderstanding, decrease frustration and anxiety related to cancer care, and prevent lack of or unnecessary treatment. And then we have health communication, which is the ability to convey health information to other people. This includes verbal or written communication strategies, involves searching for and using information correctly. Effective communication improves health and wellness, eases frustrations, and allows you to share your thoughts more effectively. In our packet, we've provided resources of where you can go to look up cancer-related medical terms if you ever need it or find it helpful. Now, we want to take a moment to acknowledge that despite the use of health literacy and communication, there are often many disparities in medical care for minority groups. While we believe the strategies we'll go over are beneficial to all individuals, we want to acknowledge the prejudice and bias an individual may face.
Next, we're going to go over what you can do to help improve your communication and advocacy with health professionals, work, loved ones, and partners. Being a self-advocate includes being able to maximize your quality of care by recognizing and communicating your health-related concerns to a healthcare provider. It's important to prepare for each appointment you go to. Go into each appointment with an idea or plan of what you want to accomplish or discuss. Talk about what you want from your appointment ahead of time with a friend or loved one. This often helps you remember and practice asking for what you need in the appointment. Make a list of questions you will ask and research unfamiliar terms or aspects of your diagnosis online. During the appointment, you can bring your list of questions to ask your healthcare provider. Tell your healthcare provider at the beginning of the appointment you have a list of questions you would like to discuss with them. Take notes during the appointment and write down unfamiliar terms. Bring a friend or family member for support. Don't be afraid to ask your healthcare provider to slow down, repeat, or simplify if needed. And remember, it is your right to request a translator if English is not the primary language of you or your loved ones. Ask your healthcare provider to provide a written copy of your treatment plan or other helpful materials and handouts, and feel comfortable asking your healthcare provider for the costs of various treatments and procedures. Lastly, after the appointment, consider getting a second opinion if needed. If you did not feel comfortable or forgot to ask certain questions, you can communicate with your healthcare team online or by phone. And if you feel your provider was not a good fit, it is okay to change providers. It is also important to note that there are medical providers that specialize in working with specific minority groups, which may support the patient-provider relationship and quality of care you receive. Necessary conversations, negotiations, and supportive relationships are key to managing your return to work. Acknowledging the potential change in your capabilities and relationships, as well as your right to accommodation and information sharing, are important first steps to take. Strategies to self-advocate at work are to know your legal rights. There are discrimination laws in place to protect cancer survivors from unfair treatment at work. Talk to your social worker about state agencies that protect your rights as an employee, and use the Cancer Legal Resource Center on the Disability Rights Legal Center website. It's also important to ask for adjustments to make it easier for you to keep your job. So being able to work from home or part-time, having time flexibility to complete work tasks, and asking for special equipment to create a comfortable work environment. Next, it's important to always keep a record. So be sure to obtain documentation from your doctor to explain how your cancer could affect your performance at work, and record each request you make to your work and its outcome. Remember to talk to others and accept assistance as needed. Most people are willing to help, and it also makes them happy knowing that they can contribute to your success. Plan what to share. Plan ahead what and how much you want to share about your diagnosis. If you do not want to answer a question, you can say something like, "Thank you for asking. Do you mind if we do not talk about this?" And lastly, stay connected with your supervisors and coworkers. Keeping the people you trust updated on your progress will potentially make returning to work easier. When communicating to loved ones about your specific needs related to your diagnosis, you may choose to be open with your experience or share as little detail as possible. It is beneficial to communicate to others, however, only do so if you are comfortable. There are many strategies to communicating with loved ones, and we're going to break each of these down in the following slides. The first step is to think of important times to talk about your cancer diagnosis. This can include when your diagnosis might affect another person's life, when you need help with day-to-day tasks, when you need to share your emotions, and when you want to explain the changes that are happening.
If you are a parent, it's just as important to keep your child appropriately informed, no matter how old they are. The words you choose and the way you decide to approach your child will depend on how old they are, and what to include in your conversations should be about the same. We recommend that you assure them that they are not responsible for the illness. It is natural for kids, especially younger ones, to view the world as black and white or good and bad. So it's important to reassure them that they are not responsible. Next, we encourage you to explain that your diagnosis is not contagious. When kids hear, "I'm sick," or "illness," they might think it's similar to a cold or now even coronavirus. So we suggest to clarify that cancer cannot be spread. It's also important to let them know that their feelings matter too, and it is okay to feel angry, upset, or even sad. Our final tip is to communicate that they are still loved and cared for. Validating their feelings and that you are still their parent and still will be there for them to turn to and care for them are important, because cancer may change some things, but it wouldn't change being mom or dad. I also would like to suggest that conversations like this can happen more than once. Having open communication is a process and takes regular check-ins. We're now going to go over how to talk to your friends and coworkers about your journey with cancer. These conversations can be hard and can feel vulnerable to do, so we suggest to discuss with a trusted friend first and then have them support you when telling others. Also, only tell others when you are comfortable doing so. Decide how much information you want to share, and request information be confidential. Basically, it's on your terms who, what, and when to have these conversations with. Next, we recommend to let them know it's okay to ask questions, but only if you are comfortable answering them. Finally, remind them just being there for you is enough. It is natural for people who care for you to want to help, but they may not know when and what you need help with. So if you do need their help, don't wait for them to come to you. Be direct and ask. To discuss with other family members, we first suggest to choose a trusted person to relate important information to other family members. If you are like me, you have a lot of cousins, aunts, uncles, etc. Therefore, to relieve some of the burden of having to make numerous phone calls, assign one person who you trust to act like a point of contact with your information. We suggest to also choose to share information that only you feel is important. Finally, you could create a website or social media page with updates. This could act like a hub of information where your loved ones can conveniently stay informed and possibly even offer support. As a bonus, it may even be cathartic to put your thoughts and feelings into words. But again, this would only be on the terms of your comfort level for what gets posted, how often, and who has access to see it.
So just like what we talked about in previous sessions, intimacy can be beneficial emotionally, physically, and mentally. We are going to talk more about some communication strategies to your partner or significant other because that closeness and connectedness you can achieve through communication can help strengthen the bond between both of you. I know this is an important topic in many people's lives, and it can also be difficult to talk about. So some strategies include picking a neutral, comfortable place to discuss your needs. This helps so one person won't be extremely overwhelmed or feel powerless in the situation. If you are both in a comfortable, neutral place, the conversation will come easier. Find a nice outdoor park, a quiet space under a tree, bring a picnic basket, and use that neutral, comfortable space to your benefit. Have several short conversations instead of one large discussion. When talking about sex and intimacy, there can be a lot of feelings and a lot of points to be made. So break it up some. Talk about one specific point at a time. If you try to talk about all of your feelings and needs at once, it can be emotionally exhausting and overwhelming for you, and it can be hard for your partner to follow along with all the points and decipher which might be the most important. Practice saying sexual terms out loud beforehand. It can be awkward to talk about sex and intimacy, so practice beforehand so you don't feel uncomfortable in the situation. Be honest about what feels good and what might be uncomfortable or painful. Your partner isn't going to know unless you are honest and open. A common saying that I hear frequently is, "Lexi, I'm not a mind reader. You have to tell me what you're thinking." Practice positive self-talk. So like we talked about previously, be aware of those negative thoughts and try to change them. Focus on those great qualities you have and the things that make you feel more attractive. And this is different for everyone. Find your own best qualities. And this could be a great conversation to have with your partner. Have them tell you their favorite qualities about you and use those to your advantage. Explain or show to your partner your body's physical changes. Be proud of your body. It has been through hell and back. It has done some pretty amazing and crazy things. If you are comfortable, show these to your partner in a neutral setting so they are aware of the changes your body has gone through. And remember that intimacy is not just sexual intercourse. Communicate with your partner in other ways to achieve an intimate connection, such as cuddling, massages, or sharing a mutually enjoyable activity. Just talking with each other can also be intimate. Find a quiet spot, turn off your phone and TV, and talk to each other. It might be difficult at first, and it's okay to build up to longer amounts of time of talking. There are many resources online. There are quizzes that you and your significant other can take, and it compares what you both enjoy. And if you do a quick Google search, there are hundreds of questions to ask your significant other sites with many conversation starters. After learning about each of these strategies, we want you all to know that you are capable of advocating for yourself and the rights of your community. If you see a need for change, every new change has to start somewhere, and you can be the change agent to kickstart a movement. We want to share a quick story with you all before we go into the next portion of our session today. You may be familiar with the image on the left of the screen depicting what is known as a handicap symbol. This old symbol depicts a person with a disability as being passive, needing assistance for mobility, and labeled as handicap, which infers a lack of independence. An artist, Sarah Hendren, recognized the need for a more accurate depiction of disability and kickstarted the conversation for an improved representation by redesigning the logo. The new logo she designed on the right depicts a person's ability to be mobile and independent throughout their daily life. The name has also been changed to a reserved parking space, removing the handicap language that has a negative connotation and can be damaging to the representation of people with differing abilities. So there are many opportunities in life to advocate, communicate, and empower others in the same way Sarah Hendren did in this example. Although we realize this new logo does not represent all people with disabilities, we are grateful for the initiation of a conversation about taking action. Everyone goes through different changes in life. By advocating for yourself and finding a sense of empowerment, you are able to play a key role in decisions about your healthcare, health outcomes, and are able to positively influence society's perception of yourself and your capabilities.
Similar to previous sessions, we're going to take action with everything we just learned and set goals. First, decide on a specific, realistic, and attainable goal for this week. Second, plan the goal into your schedule, choosing specific days and times to complete your goal. Finally, after the week has ended, go back and check your progress if the goal did or did not work, and plan how you could make it easier or more challenging for next week. Here is my example for this week that I made for being prepared for my health appointments. You can use this as a reference, but now it's your turn. You can now pause the video and use the chart in your packet or whatever you have been using and make a goal.
We want to thank you for watching our third program session. We want to remind you that if you would like more information to help support your advocacy journey, the Cancer Caring Center newsletter has an ongoing list of programs and counseling sessions that can help. So feel free to reach out to them at cancercaringpgh@gmail.com for more information.